right. Thank you for everyone that's here at our digital marketing workshop. Today we're going to talk about how to beat your competitors in Google search results. We're going to go through some strategies, how you can uncover valuable keywords that your competitors and you are kind of ranking or competing on, and then some strategies to improve your SEO and beat them. So I think it should be a fun one. It's always good to see like what your competitors are doing, learn about them. Especially, I think I did a LinkedIn post recently just about that one competitor. Everyone's got that one competitor that's kind of like, what are they doing that's working so well? So we're going to show you how to find that out. And maybe I'll tell you about my own story with my old job with a competitor that I was able to look at their strategy and then really create a content strategy for us to help us beat them in many ways. So I'm Warren. I'm one of the co-founders and managing directors at Ollo Metrics. We're a digital marketing agency, and we're based in Vancouver and Squamish, BC. We do Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, analytics, and we really emphasize analytics because we think that when you've got data, you can make smarter decisions, and that really applies to your ads, your SEO efforts, and everything else with marketing. So I also am a lead instructor at BrainStation and Jelly Academy. So teach SEO classes and Google Analytics classes and Google Ads classes there. So it's a real pleasure to be here. And joining me is Lauren.
Hey guys. Yeah, I'm Lauren. I'm part of the Ollo team. I started as the marketing coordinator with the team a long time ago, team member number 1. And yeah, SEO has just been such an interesting field to work my way into and learn, constant learning in this field. So yeah, working as the SEO and content specialist with the team. Excited to share with you guys today.
Thank you, Lauren. So what is this format that we're in right now? So we call these Ollo workshops. It's we do this every single month. We're going through the tools, strategies, techniques for being successful. Digital marketing changes fast. So we keep these really learning focused, hands-on. We're getting live feedback, and we want to build this community. So something that you guys can kind of rely on, coming back to and learning more about digital marketing. So there's been some big shifts this year in SEO, and we've got some questions. If you guys have any questions about the big shifts, especially AI shifts, then please let's ask them at the end, and then we're happy to kind of dig into some of those topics. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about first, like, what is the value of SEO? Why is this important to your business? Some people might say like, oh, I don't even need it. I don't care about that. But we're gonna make a pretty compelling reason why it should be an integral part of your strategy. So, and then we're gonna get into the core content. So starting with competitor analysis, identifying high value keywords, implementing your focus keywords, and then indexing and monitoring. So this is gonna be the kind of framework for how you're gonna beat your competitors in Google search. So normally I do introductions, but actually, well, I know you, Pascal. Cassandra, if you want to throw in just like where you're from, what your organization is, then that'd be great. And then we'll, if I can make anything relevant to you and your industry, then I will. And same thing for Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely. Cassandra Kondo. I'm a freelancer, but I freelance for several agencies out west. I'm based out of Toronto. So I freelance for Monogram Communications and Talk Shop Media. I do content creation, social media strategy, do a bit of website writing as well. And so we are starting to get into SEO research. I was trained a little bit when I during my time at Porter Airlines. I used to write for them at regional airline based out of Toronto, and someone came in and taught us a little bit about it, but that was over 6 years ago. So things move quickly. I'm now officially out of date when it comes to SEO and how to do that research. Yeah, I just would love to sort of pick your brains as well and learn from you guys and see how we can implement this like in website copy and other digital means as well.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks. Well, Lauren's in this stuff every single day. So I think you'll hear a lot of like what's working now. And I think that'll really help, especially if the last kind of introduction was 6 years ago. So thanks for joining.
Thank you.
So let's get started. So what is the value of SEO? Just to kind of frame, like, why do we talk about this? Why do we always host these workshops and bring this up? Well, 93% of online experiences begin with a search engine. So still, if you think about voice search, if you're going to, even if you go to Amazon, you're searching for products, you go to Google, you're searching for something, you ask Siri a question. These are all search engines. And so we're definitely reliant on search engines for curating and giving us the content that we trust, or that we can trust by asking them questions. So there's 5.5 billion Google searches that happen every day. That was up from 3 billion in 2015. Now there's a lot of talk of, hey, well, is that going to change with AI and ChatGPT and other tools? And but we've got some stats that still show that Google is still a massive and in exactly the same spot that it was before. So maybe this will shift, but there's some questions there. But Google is the biggest player in the game, and focusing on Google helps you with all of the rest of the search engines. So why should you care? Well, 50% of the traffic goes to the first 3 organic results. So 3 results get 50% of the traffic for any given search on average. That's massive. It's really important to know, because people are so trained to go to Google and expect those top results to be the answer that they're actually looking for. That and I'll just let Nathan in there. So is that like a lot of those, a lot of the long tail content you're showing up on page 2, 3, 4 of Google is it's going to be way harder to get up, but it still happens. You can have a lot of content that maybe you'll see ranking on page 2 or 3 of Google over time, start to creep up. And Google's also now recently experimenting with a pageless format that has this kind of continuous, all of these continuous placements for the search engine results. So it's really interesting. Things are changing fast, but the same thing applies. 50% of the traffic goes to the first 3 organic results. So there's always going to be competition to really get in that trusted spot. Oops, I'm sorry, I have to switch back to the slides. So why should you care about SEO? Maybe you've got a really strong ad strategy, and you think, okay, well, that's where we invest in ads. That's where we get our customers from. But if you don't invest in SEO, then you will always need to pay for traffic. The thing about traffic is when you pay for it, it's kind of like a water hose or something, right? You turn it on, you get traffic. You turn it off, it goes away. And so SEO is going to be this longer term result. If you invest in it, and you're going to start to get traffic that you don't have to pay for each click. And the thing about the traffic that comes from SEO is that a lot of people trust it a lot more than they do ads. So with ads, 70 to 80%, you just think about yourselves when you guys go search something on Google. Do you click those ads at the top, or do you kind of scroll down and then click on the results below? So I will say sometimes I click on the ads, but most of the time I don't. Depends what I'm looking for. A lot of people don't know that they're ads. So depending on the audience, I'm a digital marketer. So I am different from most people when it comes to my website behavior. But yeah, so having organic listings in those top spots will always imbue your website and your content with a sense of trust that you just can't get from a paid ad. And that's why we usually see when people come through organic channels, they have higher average session durations on the website, higher conversion rates. They visit more pages, they engage with your content site-wide longer. And so that's why it is really valuable, right? It's like an asset you're building over time. It's going to be a pillar for your overall marketing strategy. So a common problem that we do see is that the language you use matters a lot. And so the bigger the company, I would say, the bigger the problem is. So you think, oh, well, the big guys, they got it all figured out. No, it's reverse. So bigger the company, the more company-centric language there is. So most people publish content around what a company does, product services. So they don't publish it for what their ideal customer is actually searching for, which means that they're not publishing it for SEO. So we call this company-centric language. So this my old company, Kintech, where I worked, it was the CEO would be like, well, let's call something, like try to give it a special name or something. I'm like, wait, that's not a good idea, right? No one's going to be able to know what to look for this certain product or this service. So we need to be looking at the SEO data to say, what are actual customers searching? So When you do that, well, you're going to optimize your content based on the information that your ideal customer is searching for. This means knowing your customer's needs and their searches related to your brand, business, products, and services, and the problems that you are solving. So this is customer-centric language. And the big difference here is, when you're using company-centric language, again, the bigger the company, the more common it is. You have this, what I call highest paid person's opinion driven page content. So usually, head of some sort of division will be saying, hey, we need to get these pages created for our website. And you're hoping to get lucky with keywords on those pages just because you're creating them. You think, okay, well, people are going to find those pages. Not always true. You're going to have a lower search engine results page click-through rates, and that SERP is the page that shows up when you actually search something on Google. And then you're going to have a mix of irrelevant and relevant traffic. So we see this all the time. We look at the data of that page and go, oh man, you guys are showing up for all these keywords over here that are completely unrelated to the page content. You need to be much more focused with the information. So if you really do this research that Lauren's going to walk us through in a little bit, then you're going to create page content based on demand. So what are people actually searching for? Let's create content for that. You're going to make progress on those target keywords. And so you're going to be able to beat your competitors on the keywords that matter to your business. And you're going to get higher search engine results page click-through rates, and then increase your high value traffic. So that's really what it all comes down to. We're talking about beating our competitors. There's no sense in beating them for a bunch of traffic that's not going to purchase anything. You want to beat them for the keywords that matter so that you can create that content and actually capture new customers. And that is the customer-centric language approach. So I'm going to pass it over to Lauren. She's going to walk us through how to do a lot of this stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Warren. So we're going to go ahead and dive in with some competitor analysis here. So we'll start with that. That's what you're here for, right? You want to find out where your competitors are and figure out how to beat them. So all of that starts with some really good tools to analyze that data. So I just want to highlight two here that you guys can look into after the call for yourselves. We're using a tool called SEMrush or SEMrush on the daily. This is a paid tool. So it gives you some really high level and important data to go over. When you want to hit the slide there for me, so you can save and track keywords within the tool as well. So this is a really cool tool with a lot of details available to you. And then there's an alternative here called Ubersuggest. It starts out as a free tool, and then they have a paid subscription as well that's a little more affordable than SEMrush as a big agency tool. It's going to still give you the data that you really need to make the decisions we're going to go over today. And an added bonus, you're going to get really well acquainted with Neil Patel's lovely face on the tool. So those are just two options to use to gather the data that we're going to go over today to make some decisions. So here is what we're going to look at when we actually do a competitor analysis. You've got a domain authority score over on the right-hand side there. And that is a number given on a scale from 1 to 100. I've got an example company here, a URL for a landscaping company that we're going to use as our example today. So they're a little smaller company in the North Vancouver landscape that we're looking at today. So they've only got an authority score of 8, which makes them a really great example for us to use here because we want to build that. Then next, you're going to look at backlinks. Backlinks are referring domains or websites that have a link that would lead someone to your site. So it could be like a news article written about your team that links back to your website, just as an example. Then we want to look at both the organic and paid traffic situation and see where you're at there. Organic traffic, of course, being SEO driven. Paid traffic would be the advertising that you're running on search ads. So you can see this company isn't actually currently running any search advertising. So that's at 0, but their organic traffic is growing. So that's a great place to start. And then organic keywords, we're going to look at that with some top landing pages as well. Those would be 2 things to dig into to find out where you're currently at and what could be improved. So now that we've looked at where we're at, you want to find your competitors. So I've got a little video example here of me doing a quick search for our example, North Vancouver landscaping. So you want to look at the paid results at the top, the organic results that come up in the page, but also those local results that pop up with the map next to it. All three of those are really important ones to look at to see who your competitors might be in that space. And yeah, we can gather some results from how we could potentially go after some keywords to compete with them. So our example here today, we're going to look at the domain I showed you. So my example company, I'm an Absolute Landscaping is my company here, and we are in North Van, offering lawn care services, landscaping design, and garden maintenance. And then we're going to look at two competitors that are a little larger in the area, Great Canadian Landscaping Company and Great Lawns. So we're actually going to do a little live demo here, and I'll show you what I look at in the SEMrush tool. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here with you guys. Quick switcheroo. Okay, so you're in the tool here with me, SEMrush, and I've got these example websites already dropped in here for us to look at that same data I just showed you. So we can see that current state of our website and then where our competitors are. So if we're looking at authority score, we're pretty similar here with Lawns and Beyond, but Great Canadian Landscaping Company, they've been around a long time. They've built up their web presence and they've got a pretty solid score here. But if they're doing it, so can we. So it's something to work towards, right? So this would be a great target goal for us. And there's a couple ways to build up authority score. It does take time. SEO is playing the long game, like we showed with, the traffic you pay for versus the traffic you earn. And we'll talk through a few ways to build that authority score later on. Warren will walk us through a few on-site and off-site tactics. But then you want to look at your referring domains too, your backlinks with your competitors. And those are things we could actually dig into. I'm not going to go into the details here today, but we could actually look at those specific links and find ways to earn more backlinks from our competitors as well. And then organic traffic here, the results you're seeing here with the plus or minuses, this is showing changes from the last month. So we can actually see where our competitors are at currently in comparison to us. So they are growing their organic traffic just as much as we are, but they are earning a lot more traffic because of their placements at the moment. So that's something we want to work towards. And one way we will do that is the keyword gap. So I've got a tool here in SEMrush called the keyword gap tool. And again, I've got those 3 websites dropped in here. So we're looking at exactly where our current state is. And we can see a little overlap visualization here. So we're the little guy. And we're looking at some competitors who are doing a pretty good job right now with their organic traffic, which makes them a great thing to look at for us to find some new opportunities, what's working for them and what could work for us as alternate keywords. So we're going to look at this little piece right here, missing keywords. Missing refers to things that our competitors are ranking for on page 1 of Google that we are not ranking for at all. So these numbers you see in these 3 columns refer to the actual place in the Google search results. So if they're position 25, they're on page 3 of Google. Position 1 is obviously right there at the top, first organic listing. So they're getting a lot of traffic off of that keyword right there. And then we'll walk through these 3 pieces in detail a little more in the next section, but we want to look at the volume and the keyword difficulty and the intent of those keywords. So this is a great report just for showing all of this data in one spot to see where those opportunities might be. And I also use this untapped category as well. So untapped refers to keywords that neither us or our competitors are ranking on page 1 of Google or in the first 10 search results. So anything that our competitors, none of our competitors are ranking on page 1 for these at all, which would make them really good opportunities to go after. Now, untapped is just referring to the numbers here. You do want to go through and look at the keywords themselves to find out which ones are actually applicable to your business. But this is a great place to look for opportunities. Warren, have something to add?
Yeah. So for example, like, and this is where you have to identify, like, you as a business, like, what makes us unique. And maybe in this case, like, we see snow removal services. Maybe you're the only landscaping company in your area that also does snow removal. If that's the case, hey, that's a big opportunity for you to jump on. And so you can say, hey, let's create a page that talks about snow removal services. Let's make sure that that keyword's in a lot of places online. I'll go through that later. But that's just an example of a great opportunity here where they could, even being the smaller fish in this pond, they could capitalize on that and start to get a lot of new business that their competitors aren't actually tapping into.
Yep, great point. So if we switch back over to the slide deck there.
Okay, awesome.
So now that we've kind of gotten a feel for where we're at, where our competitors are at, we want to find those high value keywords to bring in that qualified traffic. And beating our competitors out does start with the basics of SEO there, which starts with keywords, essentially. So there's 3 factors that I mentioned that we're going to dig into here in how to find those high value keywords. That's volume, that's the average number of people searching for that keyword in a given month. Competition or keyword difficulty, that tells us, it's a number that tells us how difficult a keyword is going to be to rank for. And it refers to, it's on that scale of 1 to 100 as well, and reflects kind of where your current domain authority score is. So since our site is at an authority score of 8, we would want to go after keywords that have a difficulty lower than 20 ideally, so that we stand a chance of ranking for those in comparison to our competitors. And then thirdly, intent. And I'm going to dig into that a little further in the next 2 slides. Keyword intent refers to what you can actually learn about the person searching for that keyword. So it is subjective, and it does require a deep understanding of the people you're trying to bring to your site. So if you have a customer persona already built for your ideal customers, this is a great time to pull it out and refer back to that so that you have a really clear understanding of who it is you're trying to reach here. There are 4 different types of keyword intent, and today we're just going to unpack 2 of those. But if you want to learn about all 4, Warren and I actually did a presentation a couple months ago on how to structure your website for SEO, where we go over all 4 of those types in detail with some good examples. So you can grab that link from the slides here at the end as well. And then here you've got a visualization of a marketing funnel. So if you've worked in marketing for a little while, you've seen a lot of funnels. But we've got top of funnel here, awareness stage, all the way down to them actually making a purchase and converting on your website. And those all compared to those 4 types of keyword intent here. So we're going to talk about informational intent. And these keywords are great to use in content on your site, blog content, resource content, all of that. And then commercial investigation is the other one we want to look at. And that is, it can be a great keyword to use for certain types of blogs, but especially on your products and service pages. So informational intent is when the user is actually looking for general information or trying to answer a specific question. Got a few examples here for you. So what's the best season for planting grass? Best unknown hikes in British Columbia. Or maybe they're trying to find a how-to article, how to make eggs Benedict. They just want information. They're not looking to make a purchase or convert or find a solution of any sort. They just need more information. And then commercial intent. Sometimes you'll see this called investigational intent. They're interchangeable here. This user is actually looking to investigate. They need to find more information in comparison, and they're getting further down the funnel and trying to make a decision to find a solution for their problem. So best landscaping designers, Vancouver, iPad Air versus iPad Mini, comparing two products. TELUS alternatives, trying to find new opportunities, or maybe SEO agency, Vancouver. And keyword intent really just, it helps us match with your customer the right content that they're looking for, right, in their journey. So I like, well, where's Waldo? So I put this in for you guys, but it's like, it's another irrelevant offer. It's like they have no idea where I am in the customer journey.
That's a good point. Like one of the common mistakes that we see is that a client might be trying to go after a specific keyword that is, let's say, informational intent. So like, how to, one of these previous ones, best landscape designer, actually, TELUS alternatives, let's say maybe, but they're trying to go after that with commercial intent content. And they're trying to just kind of plug it in there, like, and make that blog or the article way too salesy. And so Google's going to pay attention to the user interactions with that page and then identify, oh, the people kind of aren't getting what they need here. And then Google also looks at the content and identifies that the intent is a mismatch. So then they're going to penalize that page, or that page isn't going to rise to the top of the content, like to page 1 of Google. So it's really important to kind of align those two, as Lauren said, and not try to fit a square peg in a round hole in this case. But then create a second piece of content for when they are ready, when they are in that commercial investigation stage. Create another page for them that's going to reach them at the right moment there.
Yeah, so and to add to that, if we're trying to bridge the keyword gap here, I'm just going to pull up that information I showed you on the live demo. And to Warren's point, you need to deliver that right piece of content so that they're actually going to convert. So I've got a few examples here. Landscaping, North Vancouver. These are all commercial intent keywords that you see listed here. And I've chosen ones here circled that are still a relatively low keyword difficulty. So our absolute landscaping company could rank for these with the right pieces of content. And it's really easy to glaze over and see like a really high volume keyword with a low difficulty and just use that, but you have to pay attention to the intent. So we can't ignore that piece. So these would all be great candidates for a product or service page. And they could be good for the right type of blog, but somebody who's looking these up, they're trying to find a solution. They're not wanting to read a blog about landscaping. So that's why that third piece is so important to remember. So the second example here, Vancouver landscaping companies might be a really good one for a homepage to go after, and the other two would be really good for optimizing a service page over.
And like, to Lauren's point here, like the second one, you might look at this and say, oh, the volume's really high, keyword difficulty is low. But here, someone's looking for a job. So you could have a careers page maybe that goes after that keyword. And then, but this one, North Shore Landscaping, like I would question if that is a company name. So is that like another competitor, right? Even though it's on the North Shore. So those are the type of things you want to like investigate. Put them into Google, see who shows up, and see, oh, yeah, that's actually someone just looking for one of our competitors. Maybe that isn't, maybe you want to go after it, but not with your homepage.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Don't be afraid when you're picking and choosing the right keywords to just drop it into Google and see what comes up. It's one of the easiest things to do, and it quickly shows you if it's worth going after or not.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. So thanks, Lauren. I'm going to talk about now how to implement your focus keywords. So let's say you've got one of these keywords, landscaping, North Vancouver. Like, great, we're going after that. That's going to be, that's a great one for us. It's got high volume, low keyword difficulty. It's the right intent. And we're a landscaping company in North Vancouver. Well, we need to implement that focus keyword in certain parts of our website and specifically the web pages that we're going to be trying to get to rank. So when we say showing up on page 1 of Google, it's like, we always say like, okay, which page for which keyword? So it's, it will depend. You'll have certain pages on your website, which will show up on page 1, certain pages that will show up on page 10. And so it's important to kind of pick the right keywords and create the right pages that will show up on page one. And that's what this is all about. So on-site SEO, I'm going to talk about off-site after. But what can we do on our website? Where do we put that keyword? So on our products and services pages, so if you're an e-commerce brand, it's going to be products, right? On each of those product pages, you want to optimize them. If you're maybe a services-based business, you're going to have service pages. So for us, we are a digital marketing agency, and we offer different services like marketing analytics, Google Ads services, and whatnot. So one of the pages that we created recently was marketing analytics agency. We figured, hey, that's a really high intent keyword. People who are looking for not just marketing analytics services, but an agency, not just like a freelancer or a specialist, but like they want like a team that has maybe some certain methodologies, and they're expecting to find agencies. That's who we want to go after. So we take this page and we figured, okay, marketing analytics agency, we want to include that keyword in a few spots on the page. We want to make sure it's in our URL. So we're going to have our website, ollometrics.com/marketing analytics agency. We're going to put it in the page title. So this is what shows up in Google when you search for something. All of those blue kind of headlines, those are the page titles. We want the keyword in there at the page title, preferably at the beginning of the page title. We'll want it in the meta description. So that's the accompanying text underneath. And if you put it in the meta description, it's going to be bolded. So it's going to help stand out and make your web page or website the one that people click on. You also want it when they actually come to the page, you want it in that first heading. So the first heading is called the H1. There's actually 6 levels of headings. So it's H1 through 6. And so it's in the first heading. It's also one more indicator to Google. That's what this page is about. It's also an indicator to the visitor that I'm in the right place. I searched for this thing. I clicked on that link. I'm here, and it says the same thing. Good. I'm in the right location. And then you want it in at least one of your subheadings, and then those are called H2s. So in any given page, you want to answer and kind of think about all of the possible questions or information that the person is trying to seek out, and then make sure that's included. So you're developing this content, whatever the topic is, even if it's your own services page, you want to develop that page in depth. You want to go deep. You don't want to be really, one paragraph, one headline. All right, that's what we do. Good, call us for more details. Like, what are those questions that people have? Like, who am I working with? What are your reviews? What are some frequently asked questions? And so that's where you're going to develop a longer form page and put that content or that keyword 2 to 3 times. And the body content of the page can even be much more than that, but at least 2 to 3 times. And then you also want to put it in the alt text of an image on the page. So I'll talk about this a little bit more in a couple of slides later, but when you have an image on your website, you can have a file name for that image. So if you want to have so if we had an image on the marketing analytics agency page, we probably want to have a file name that says marketing analytics agency, and then like we can say graphic or diagram, and or marketing analytics agency Vancouver. And then in the alt text is what happens when someone is maybe having Siri read out a website to them. Then Google's not going to know what that image is, but they'll read the alt text of the image. So again, it's just one more indicator. That's what this image is about. And when you have the same keyword in your images, it can also show up in Google image search, which I'll talk about in a bit. So I talked about the keyword going in a lot of places, but what you want to avoid is this. I think this is less common now, but this used to be like an SEO tactic that people would do. They would just stuff the keyword in 100 different places. Google started to kind of identify when this was happening. And then, so it's called keyword stuffing. And then Google, with one of their older updates, would penalize sites that did this. So stay away from that. Still should be like natural, relevant, useful content. But you do want to have that keyword in more places than would probably be, you'd probably just do naturally if you were just going to kind of create the page.
Yeah, that was the latest update for Google too, was like using keywords in natural language, and natural language is what's being ranked higher than other things right now. So
yeah, it was the latest BERT update where Google was able to kind of see and understand the meaning of language within a page versus just the keywords. So, so we talked about products and services page. That was your commercial investigative intent keywords. Now, what about your awareness keywords? Well, for those, you probably want to use those in your blog and or resources or whatever you're doing to create content on your website for your potential visitors. So same thing here. You want to include those keywords in all of those same places, but the difference is just going to be the intent. So here versus a service page where you're mainly giving people details and information about how to make a purchase decision and whether this is the right purchase for them, and maybe why your company is unique and the services that you offer. Here with a blog, you're trying to give more information about a certain topic. So let's say that you're a landscaper. You're going to have a services page, going after landscape. I think it was Landscaper North Vancouver, or Landscaping North Vancouver. And then maybe you want to write a blog about how to trim hedges or something along those lines. And people are looking up like what to do or what kind of plants or trees to put in their yard and what could work in different seasons. Maybe you can have some content that really clearly, in a unique way, we're going to get into that a bit, shares that information, shares that expertise, and then draws them back to the other page, which is the page that's more focused on the commercial keywords. So one thing you want to do is avoid marketing copycat syndrome. So I don't know if we invented this term, but it's real. It's real. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll look at their competitors and they'll go, okay, great, let's just copy that. And we'll just do a little change here and there. So there's this old article called How to Create 10x Content. And we did title this workshop, How to Beat Your Competitors in Google Search. So what you can't do is just go, okay, well, that's what our competitors did. We're just going to do the same. You have to think about a way to beat them, do something better, more meaningful, more deep in information and richness in the content, more useful content that people are going to value more than your competitors' content. And therefore, Google's going to reward you more. So this is, it's an old, actually, it's called Whiteboard Fridays from Moz, and I'll share the original link, but they did this video on how to create 10x content. So I'll show you an example, and you'll see exactly how far you can take this. So first off, you want to find, so let's go back to that example with the hedges and knowing which trees to plant. So you want to go back to find out the core reason why people are interested in this topic. So why is this person interested? It could be that they've been unhappy with their backyard for years. Maybe they just moved into a new house. Maybe they are looking for a way to create like a beautiful space in their backyard, host their friends, right? There's so many reasons why your core audience might be interested in this topic. And so the example here that they used for this 10x content video was for people wanting to know what the most highly rated new movies were. So that was this is the example they ran with, and so the audience is going, okay, well, I wonder what the most highly rated new movies are out right now. So if you're trying to create content for this, you want to consider unique angles to this problem. So instead of going, okay, well, here's the top 10 movies, and it's like, oh, well, like all of our competitors are already doing that. So look at all your competitors and think, how can I create something that's unique, that's different from them? And so if all your competitors are doing, they're zigging, you want to zag. So a roundup, maybe there's like this awards versus popularity, critics versus audience comparisons, or which review site can I trust? So you're thinking about different angles on how you can answer this topic. So back to the landscaping example, maybe it's a certain video that shows, maybe it's a time-lapse video that shows the different trees. Maybe it's a layout. Maybe it's a guide on all the different plants. Whatever it is, I would look at all the competitors, look at their sites and say, how can I create something meaningfully different that still aligns with that same search intent? So then you want to create content that's hard to replicate. It's high quality, and you want to use methods that are going to provide an answer that your competitors aren't just going to be able to copy tomorrow. So if possible, right? So the example here is they use this statistical analysis of films across major rating sites. So they did this really in-depth kind of research project, and then they showed people this information in a unique, powerful, kind of multimedia way to present the content. So they did this kind of chart, video, kind of diagram combination to show people, hey, here's all of the most trusted sites. There's like Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes, and all that stuff. And based on the difference between critics and audiences. So which site can I trust the most? And it's really getting down to those like core questions of why people would be interested in this topic and answering it in a unique way. So I'm gonna just I'll share this, but like that's the original article. But you want to be that original. You want to fully answer this topic and the related questions so that you can be the original source, right? So if you're the original source on something because you create something unique and valuable, then other people are going to link back to you. You're going to be a link magnet, and people are going to share it online and social media. So it's I would say like this is when you go all the way. This is what it could look like, and you could create something. That 10x content blog that was created years ago, and I still think it's still valuable and relevant today. So a lot of these things will stick around for a long time. If you create stuff that's really fluffy and like not very deep or well researched, then it's going to be maybe you're going to get a spike of traffic for a certain period of time, but then it's going to go away. You're going to have competitors that kind of outrank you. So anyway, wanted to share this because this is what it looks like when it's done well. You go really deep, and but for your own site with your competitors, you just want to make sure that you're doing something that's meaningfully better and different than them. Okay, other ways to improve your on-page SEO. Well, you can improve your internal linking between your landing pages using your focus keyword for anchor text. So I'll explain what that means. So let's say we have a page on our site where we're trying to rank for ghost peppers. Well, what we want is to have other pages on our site, maybe other blogs. They're going to have a link that says ghost peppers that's linking back to that page. And in the other example for landscaping, we've got Landscaping North Vancouver. Let's say they create that blog that talks about the different trees or plants that are in certain seasons. They want to also somewhere in that blog say Landscaping North Vancouver and then link back to their Landscaping North Vancouver services page. So they're trying to move the user through the customer journey from the informational stage to the commercial intent stage. It's also providing more context for Google. So Google knows, that page is about, in this case, ghost peppers. So to optimize for Google image search, I did mention this briefly. We want to use custom images and infographics on our landing pages with the focus keyword in alt text and file name. So and when I say custom image, I mean custom image. Maybe it's a diagram. You can even AI generate your image nowadays, but you don't want to just use boring stock photography on your blogs. You'll notice if you look on the Ollo Metrics site, we create a lot of our own illustrations ourselves because we want to create custom images that are valuable in and of themselves, that if someone looked up that keyword in Google search, they could click on that. Oh, what's that diagram there? I want to learn more about that. So it's another source for you to get traffic to your website for that relevant keyword. And then you want to refresh your website content regularly to show freshness. So, don't just put out a page and leave it for 10 years. Put out the page. You can update it with new links, update it with new pieces of information that more fully answer the topic, maybe updates, and it's really going to help you maintain that power in Google over time. So that was all of the on-site stuff, what you can do on your website and on your pages. How about off-site? So offsite also really aligns with your authority score. So in Lauren's example of Absolute Landscaping, they had a much lower authority score than your competitors. So this is really common. Like if you're just starting out, like what do you do? How do you get your authority score higher? Well, that's it's all part of your offsite SEO. And so one thing, a big one, low hanging fruit, is to really optimize your local listings. So your Google Business, your Bing Places, your Apple Maps, and maybe if you're a member of different associations like Better Business Bureau, etc., you want to make sure that you have links back from all of these sources, that these sources also have you have relevant business categories to the services that you offer. Again, landscaping example, let's pretend that you offer snow removal services. You definitely want that in these profiles. You want a relevant business description that talks about your business, includes those keywords, products and services, features. So these Google business profile, for example, allows you to showcase the different products and services that you offer. So that's going to be more information to Google about your service. You also want to reply to customer reviews, and you can include keywords in those replies. and even prompt them to use keywords in the reviews by giving them questions like, hey, tell us about your experience, like what services you had, and then like whereabouts you which store you went to. And so you can kind of encourage people to write that in the reviews. And then you can also publish posts and updated content. Okay, now backlinks. So just like other internal linking, but from other domains. So you want to get links to your website in general. It's a really positive ranking factor in Google. Google's going to say, hey, if other websites are linking to you, then you must be a trusted authority. There must be some sort of relationship. It's hard to build backlinks, I'll say, in a white hat way quickly. And so Google still sees this as a really high ranking signal. So you want to get from high authority sites, or at least higher authority than your own. For example, I do some speaking engagements with like Small Business BC and whatnot. Well, they featured a speaking page about me and then mentioned our agency, but they forgot to put a backlink there. So what I do, I reached out and said, hey, I wouldn't be a digital marketer if I didn't ask. Could you please just give us a backlink? And they did. And so they're a really high authority site. All of a sudden, we have a higher authority because we're getting that backlinking authority from them. So you especially want to do this though for pages you've optimized with those focus keywords. So if you have a specific page, a specific article or blog, for us, we can use that marketing analytics page as an example. We want to get backlinks from other pages linking to our site, but we want their anchor text to say marketing analytics agency as well. So it's not only is the domain authority going to pass through to us, but so is that keyword, the keyword reference to our page and about what that page is about. So it's going to give more information to Google. So the example here is I did a blog post a while ago. It was called How to Make the Best Web Analytics Presentation for Your Bosses. So I did this as a guest post for this company called Dash This. And then, so ideally, if you do things like that, you do a guest post, get it linked back to your site. Well, I want it not only just link back to a page that's related to the topic, so web analytics or marketing analytics agency, but also has the anchor text marketing analytics agency in the link coming back to this page. And that's really going to help this page propel above our competitors that are ranking for the same keyword. So hot tip. Lauren's on this. Lauren's actually gotten featured through this a few times, but if you're like, oh, I'm just starting out, like, I don't know, how do I get these backlinks? Where do I go? I've got some other tips, but help a reporter out is a great one. So this, you can sign up to be a subject matter expert on your topic, and then you're going to get some inbound emails where it's different content creators and reporters looking for subject matter experts to contribute to different articles. So Lauren, what was the recent one that you got? Or
it was using ChatGPT. It was how I'm using it as an SEO, basically.
Yeah, so it's again, I'd say it's a little bit more time. Yeah,
and some of the requests come through are quite urgent, so you need to have 5-10 minutes to send an answer back within the time frame that they provide. But yeah, there's a lot of prompts that come through on the daily, depending on which category you choose to be a subject matter expert for.
Yeah, so it's definitely a helpful tool.
Mm-hmm.
Other ways to get backlinks. Well, so if you're whatever your industry is, if you're part of different associations, association websites are an excellent source. They're really highly authoritative and a great place to get backlinks. Online directories like Google Business Profile, for example, but there's hundreds of others, 411, Hot Frog, etc. So you can use other SEO tools to get backlinks from online directories. You can sponsor local events. So if you're a local event sponsor, especially if it's a bigger event, even if you're just a small sponsor, you can usually get backlink from that event. Partnerships, contests, maybe there's another business in your community that's a bit more established and you can do some sort of partnership with them for maybe it's a type of contest or release. That's another great one. It's kind of similar to collaborations or guest posting. So if you wanted to go guest post for someone else, like I did in that previous example, then they link back to your website. Another big one is brand monitoring. So this is probably for bigger brands, but as you start to get more media mentions, bigger businesses, especially like for the example with Small Business BC, I knew that they were posting an article about me that mentioned Ollo Metrics, but I didn't I didn't necessarily need a tool to measure that. If you're a bigger brand, it's just happening a lot, right? There might be a lot of different websites or publications that mentioning your brand. One thing to do is just look at, okay, which of these websites is mentioning us but not linking back to us. And you can use a tool like SEMrush to do that. It's just one of the more advanced paid features. But that's another great one if you're a bigger business that's getting lots of brand mentions, but maybe not backlinks where you should. And then backlink paid services. So you can always pay for these services. There's different agencies that will do all of this outreach and content writing for you. So that's if you want to like fast track it, but costs money to do that.
And that is a white hat tactic still.
Yes.
There are poor ways to pay for backlinks. So there's some really good ones out there though that do it properly. It just takes the time out of it for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I think there's been this kind of conception around paying for backlinks. And even I've seen both sides of the coin when it comes to this strategy. If people are just doing these big kind of link sharing networks, Google kind of caught on to that. But if you're doing proper guest posting, it's original content, it's getting posted, and you're using a service provider to do that, then you can have, I've seen some case studies that have just been like monumental on how they shifted the authority score and traffic to those websites.
Mm-hmm.
And then just creating awesome content. So if you create that 10x content, like that example we had, people are going to want to share it, right? They're going to be like, whoa, this is amazing. I'm sharing it today, right? And this is years later. So if you create amazing content, it might take a lot longer to create that content. But if you really understand your audience and create uniquely valuable content for them, they're going to share it. They're going to share it with their networks, their colleagues, their family, friends, and that's really how things are going to grow organically. All right.
Yeah, a lot of details.
Indexing and monitoring.
Yeah, I wouldn't be an SEO here sharing all of this with you if I didn't give you this final most important tip. So when you do use those on-site SEO tactics that Warren walked through, there's a very important tool that you want to pay attention to. If you're a website owner or marketing manager of a website, this tool is totally free to you to get set up. There's some great tutorials on YouTube to help you get that all set up for your website as well. But it's Google Search Console. So when you go ahead and make a change on your website, and you can go to the next slide there, Warren, you want to make sure that once you've got that focus keyword implemented in all of those 7 different places we walked through, that you drop the URL for your updated or new landing page right here into the inspect URL bar there. Hit enter, and then you want to request indexing. So Google can take weeks or months to get back to your site to crawl it on its own, but when you do this, it's going to crawl it in a matter of days or hopefully hours, most likely. So you want to see results from the changes you're making. You don't want to wait for Google to get around to that. So make sure you do this piece and you'll start seeing results much quicker. And then there's another piece in this tool, Google Search Console, you can click into called Search Results. So over on the left column there, you can click into that, and then I've got it highlighted in orange there. You want to click on the average position, and you can actually see down where it says queries. That's this interchangeable word for keywords. Queries, what people are searching that's bringing them to your site. You can see what your position is for those keywords and just kind of look through that and see how that changes over time. And you've got a really nice chart here that graphs that out over time as well. So just a really nice way to find out how you're doing over time once you start making those improvements.
Yeah, and here you can narrow down and filter each page. So if you just want to look at, okay, for this one page, how are we doing? For this one keyword, how are we doing? Or query, you can filter those down here as well, up here in this new section. That's just a new filter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I know we're almost at time here for you guys, but just want to run through the main takeaways from this presentation. Basically, most people are still starting with a Google search. They're not looking up URLs anymore as often. So they're still starting with a search, which makes SEO really important and valuable. you got to find out where you're at in comparison to your competitors in the digital landscape here so that you can measure yourself against them and figure out where those opportunities are in the search results. We want to identify the keyword gaps and choose low difficulty keywords that we can rank for. Use those focus keywords then in your on-site and off-site SEO tactics. And then, of course, make sure that you're indexed and start tracking your performance so you can prove to yourself or to your boss that the SEO tactics you've been implementing are working and bringing in that traffic.
Thank you, Lauren. So I will say, if anyone's got any questions, or if anyone wants to just talk about this, talk about their own strategy, I know there's only a couple of people here, but Cassandra, maybe I'm talking to you. You can also reach out and book a meeting with me, and anyone who's watching the recording as well. So a lot of the stuff is there's little nuances depending on your industry and your business, and you're like, hey, I just want to kind of figure out how this works for me. Look at myself and my top 5 competitors. Reach out. We can look at it together and then help you kind of point you in the right direction. So that's an offer to throw out there. And if anyone wants to reach out, you can. I will say we've also got another workshop next month where we're going to talk about how to set up conversion tracking and calculate ROI. So I think this is going to be a really important one for a lot of people. Conversion tracking is sometimes this nebulous thing. Like, how do I track conversions? In e-commerce, I think it's more straightforward. It's like when someone makes a purchase, it's more straightforward, but it's more technical to set up that transaction. But dollars in is dollars out. It's the same thing. For lead generation, there's a little bit of a formula, a methodology that we use to put this together, so you can track and calculate ROI of your ad campaigns. And so we're going to talk about that next month. I hope to see you guys there. And it should be a fun one and pretty eye-opening for a lot of people on how you can actually do this. So I will say to our awesome attendees, if you guys do have the time and you haven't done this before, just filling out a workshop survey form would be awesome. Always, you can select kind of maybe topics that you're interested in and let us know, because we're doing these every month. And so if there are some topics you're like, hey, I want to learn about this, this is affecting me in my business, let us know. And we actually do pick these based on a lot of the survey completions. So that being said, we're at an hour. And while we're here, I was just wondering if you guys had any questions about SEO or any of the things that we talked about today. I just open up the floor and
yeah.
take it from there.
Drop them in the chat or turn off your mic there and ask. Cassandra?
Okay, Pascal, you can go first, and then Cassandra will grab you after.
Oh, sorry, I have to leave then. Thank you
Cassandra,
so much.
You go first. Go for it.
Yeah, okay. I just had a quick question about SEO when you were mentioning that we had to update the keywords on pages frequently. How frequent is that? I remember the rule of thumb what I was taught was 3 months, but is that still existent? Does it need to be?
I think SEO takes time, and it can take up to 3 months to start seeing the results from some implementation. I think I would say best practice is to make sure that they're working for you first at 3 months to make sure you're trending in the right direction. And if it's working, just dig into it and keep going for it. If it's not working or page performance has dropped, then maybe you need to pivot and re-optimize that. But freshness, I would say once every 6 months to a year would be ideal. Yeah. I don't think you need to change every page that often, because we do want to show freshness, but we also need just the authority there of the page content.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, Pascal, for cutting you off and going first and butting in. I really appreciate your time. I learned a lot. This is a great refresher, and things have definitely changed from 5 years ago. So thank you guys so much for a great presentation. Really appreciated it.
Thanks, Cassandra. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Pascal, take it away. What questions do you have?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. So when you do your Google search, I know it's highly impacted by the location.
Can you pull your microphone a little closer there, Pascal? Sorry.
So on Google search, I believe that location from where you do that search is very important. And if I want to do a search, for example, on my competitors in California, do you recommend using a VPN, or what, how would you do that? And how big of an area would you target? So we sell through Canada and the US, right?
Hard to
So
hear
we have
you,
many
but
competitors.
if I can maybe I can paraphrase this. So you're wondering how important location is in regards to search, and then you guys are based in Canada, but you have a big competitor in California, and you're wondering, like, with our SEO efforts, how much bleed over is there going to be from US to Canada?
Yeah, and who is my competitor in California?
Who is your competitor?
Yeah, in California especially.
Yeah, do you know who they are?
Well, I want to learn that with Google search. So I
Oh,
want to search specific keywords
yeah.
and see who's coming up and how far down we are. Because
Yeah,
I
so
believe it's highly based on location. So I might want to focus on some keywords in California and other keywords in Utah and other keywords in Calgary, for example.
So you could. It depends, and so the question is, like, where's your market? If your market is largely in the States and you're selling to the States, and there's certain states that are more important to you, then you could create specific pages that are going after those that are specific to that state. So let's say it's like best trailer rentals in California, like that kind of stuff. So you can create content for all of those pages for the different states or different cities that you want to go after. It's actually like a reasonably common strategy that I see some people doing. And so you can create content like it depends on what they're searching for if they live in that state. The other thing is, so like typically with SEO, like I don't know if you've got a .ca domain or not, but if you do, you have a higher chance of just showing up as to Canadian visitors. So there might also be potentially a strategy where you, like, obviously you can target ads down to those areas, but you may want to have a US based site even. So it totally depends, like if you want to undergo the complexity of doing that, or if you just have one site and you have like a /ca version and then a .com, regular .com version as well. So there might be, yeah, it's a big question, but it depends on the size of your market in Canada versus the US and how you want to kind of go after those people.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
So
That's a lot
yeah,
of
it's common. We
information.
see
That's
it in
awesome.
e-commerce as well. Like a lot of times, e-commerce sites, like they might have two different sites, or they might just have like a currency conversion, and it depends on how they want to go after it and how much paid ads is part of their strategy, and et cetera, et cetera. So cool. Well, thanks for the question. Again, if you want any more details, please feel free to reach out. And yeah, it was a pleasure to have you here, and thanks to everyone else for joining on. We do these a lot, so if you are enjoying them, please leave us a review, leave us like a form completion, and let us know what you're interested in, and then we'll pick some more topics.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks,
anything
guys.
else?
Have a nice day.
No, you did a great job.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks,
All right.
everyone. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.